Spring break is almost over, and I really want to get out of the house. So the guys are planning something. They say it's a surprise. That's never a good sign. I've known Tristan and Corey since we were 10 years old. They're a couple of wild characters. Corey will go along with any idea that sounds like it will bring excitement to the night, and Tristan is the one who comes up with them. They have been like this since I can remember. We used to sneak out when we were all 14 and tested out certain substances. But now, we've veered away from that and focused on the cheap thrills in life. Some nights, we've snuck into abandoned houses that were rumored to be haunted. They never were, of course, but we still thought it was so cool to do it. Or once, we went to a party just to put dish soap in the washing machine and watch everyone freak out. Yeah, that was kind of a jerk move, but we found it absolutely hilarious at the time. But tonight, as we're in the car, they both announced we're going to a crane? You know, those giant machines you generally see in a developing city. But apparently, this one was used in the wilderness, because Corey drove us deep into the forest. Now, I'm not really one to do things I'm not supposed to. I generally listen to authority and don't break the law now that I'm a little older and don't want to get in trouble. But I just really wanted to get out of the house. Most of my break so far has been babysitting for my stepmother for free and keeping the house tidy. So I'm kind of just going along with their dumb ideas yet again and hoping for a good ending to my break. As we approach the crane, Corey says, "Whoa, dude, this is going to be so sick." "Yeah," Tristan adds, "but what if one of us falls off or something?" "Stop being such a sissy and climb." "Gah, fine." Tristan complies and begins to climb the rusty old ladder first. There's only one ladder, so I let them go before me while I wait on the ground. I didn't really want to be stuck with one of their butts in my face, but they didn't seem to mind. "Don't push each other off, you might land on me," I shout up to them as they ascend up the crazy high crane. It must have taken them at least 5 minutes to finish climbing all the way to the top. Now it's really quiet down here all by myself in the forest. As I'm alone, I notice how dark it actually is. We just had daylight savings, so it should be lighter out at 8 p.m., but the sunlight is almost all the way gone. But there was still a little bit of light to see the outlines of the trees and such. I was really starting to creep myself out down here all alone, but I didn't exactly want to climb the crane either. This was until I saw a dark figure. I thought I was just making it up in my mind at first, but the longer I looked, I noticed it slightly moving, swaying from side to side. Someone is here in the trees. The dark figure had to be a really tall man, maybe 6 feet. I got a bit spooked, to be honest. My initial thought being that this guy must be a developer or someone who lives nearby and is here to get us in trouble. He might even call the cops on us. Except, he didn't. A minute has gone by, and he's still just standing there, staring directly at me. Now, I couldn't quite see his face because it was just a black shadow from here, but I could tell he was staring at me. Okay, this is honestly getting really creepy. Then I noticed that there was something sharp in his hand by his waist. Why didn't I notice a weapon before? Now, I'm a big guy, and I'm not afraid of confrontation, but I don't mess with huge guys with knives. "Hey man, what are you trying to do here? We're just kids. I'll get my friends and we can leave," I say aloud to the figure. He stared at me, now walking at a semi-slow pace. I really didn't want any trouble, but this guy was coming at me. The closer it got, the more I saw what it really was. It wasn't 6 feet tall. He was at least 8 feet tall. This wasn't a man or even a human at all. I don't know what it was. I had to escape somehow, but I didn't want to take the car and abandon the guys on the crane, not even knowing what was down here with me. I knew I'd have to join them up there and ultimately trap myself. If I got away and they didn't, I'd absolutely hate myself, and I just might go crazy. And to be honest, I didn't want to be alone any longer. So, I climbed the cold metal ladder as fast as I possibly can without falling off. I yelled to Corey and Tristan, "Guys!" I don't think they heard me, because I got no response. I'm really high up now, and I'm exhausted. I looked down for just a moment to see if the thing was following me. I really wish I hadn't. We were so close that for the first time, I saw its face. I think that this thing was once a man, but definitely not anymore. It had large holes sunk into its face where the eye should be, and a wide smile that was sewn shut. I could tell that the wound was recent, and it was stretched from cheekbone to cheekbone. I kept climbing, now fueled by fear of what I just saw. I yelled at the top of my lungs, "Corey! Tristan! I'm coming! Someone is following me!" I still get no response or indication that they are still here, even though I'm nearing the top. How could they not hear me yet? As I finally reach the top of the ladder, I practically throw myself onto the platform of crisscrossed metal. I look down the straight chute. What? My friends are nowhere in sight. I know for a fact they hadn't made it back down already because I was down there the whole time. How could this be possible? I think to myself as my heart beats out of my chest. I run down the straight path, but not all the way down. I didn't want to decide my own fate and get too close to the edge with this thing chasing me. I look toward the ladder to check if this creature is here yet. Just as I look, its head slowly emerges, and then its very tall, slim figure. I sneakily take out my Swiss Army knife that my dad had bought for me and makes me take basically everywhere. I forgot I even had this in my pocket. I see that his knife is gone. Probably dropped it climbing the ladder, just planning on shoving me off the crane itself. My knife wasn't much, but it was something he no longer had. The damn thing is staring at me again, not moving. It was so quiet, all of the sounds began to amplify. My heartbeat pulsed through my ears and my body shook terribly. I have this awful feeling that whatever he was planning was far more sinister than I initially thought. I mean, if he could have somehow transported Tristan and Corey or done something to them, who knows what he's planning to do with me. I have to protect myself, so I plan my attack in the short amount of time that I have. We were probably about 100 feet away from each other, and I know what I have to do. I start towards it, knife in hand. The creature still doesn't know I have it, so I have a slight advantage. It's probably just expecting me to try to shove it off. I pick up a slow jog, and then a run, and I finally come into contact with its body, and to my surprise, flesh. Its huge body swallows my knife, and I remove the blade. The blood that poured out was black and smelled like the sewer. This made me gag, and I had to keep myself from retching, but I knew the job wasn't done. I do this at least 2 or 3 more times to ensure this bastardly creature is dead and can't hurt me. It was hard, but the thing falls to its knees and slowly bleeds out. But it gets back up. Why am I not surprised? I'm so scared and now just angry and worried about my safety. I have to end this creature's life. Pushing it off was easier than I thought. This is most likely because it was caught off guard by my knife and was getting weaker. I look down and it's far below on the ground, not moving. The last thing I remember is climbing down as fast as I could before blacking out. "Are you sure that's what you remember?" the nice woman in scrubs asks me. I assume she's the nurse taking care of me after what happened tonight. I was in a room that wasn't like the regular hospital with all the machines and instruments. It's probably because I wasn't hurt physically, but more mentally because of how I had to protect myself. "Yes," I reply. "I've never had a more terrifying night than this one." "Where are my friends? Tristan and Corey?" "I didn't get hurt, but they disappeared from the crane. I'm afraid the creature might have survived and gotten to them. Please tell me they're okay." "Sir," the nurse starts, "you've been here for 2 weeks. Both of your friends are deceased." You stabbed Corey in the chest 11 times, and we found Tristan at the bottom of the crane. You'd shoved him off. There was never any creature that night.